Len, who turned 74 years on May Day. Right, we'll show you that video shortly, but let's stay on labor issues with regards to the minimum wage, and we're joined over the telephone by President of the Concerned Teachers Association of Ghana, Ernest Opoku. Hello, Ernest. Hello, Ernest.
Yes, we are in a meeting.
Very well, we'll get back to you. Thank you very much for that. Let's move on to the next story. And the daily media briefing at the Flagstaff House has resumed. The exercise, which was initiated by the Mahama administration, has been in hibernation for some months now. Opening today's session, Senior Communications Advisor and Presidential Spokesperson Ben Doche Malo said the briefings will be held as and when necessary. He further detailed about the president's activity scheduled over the weekend in the Ashanti region.
Taking the weekend to spend about 3 days in the Ashanti region, and some of the important things the president will be inspecting, visiting or highlighting are infrastructure projects that will have to do with roads, projects to do with educational facilities, projects to do with health facilities. Another aspect of the trip will also focus on the Gihok shoe factory, and now employment is being generated at this place. Next year they expect that they will be able to employ more than 500 people. I think this, in a way, is something that the president is pushing. Made in Ghana goods, I think, will tie in with this same approach. We have the president scheduled to visit the Akate Farms complex. My understanding is that this is the largest poultry farm complex, not just in the Ashanti region, but in the whole of Ghana. And if you recall, in the State of the Nation address, the president mentioned how we are even having to import frozen poultry. But with enterprises like Akate Farms doing well, you can see that we should be having more of these enterprises, and they need to be encouraged. In Jura, there will be the inspection of road projects and the inspection of electrification. Some 71 communities, I think, in the Jura Sichidumasi community are benefiting and are going to benefit, if they are not already doing so, from these projects. So these are projects with direct impact on the lives of our people in the region. There is scheduled to be some discussions to be held with the Otumfuo and his chiefs. So that is also on the cards. And then we will have a gathering of students at the University of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
The region will be the 9th toured by the president. Tamalo speaks about its level of satisfaction at projects inspected so far. Right, let's go to the Ashanti region and speak to my colleague Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin. Hello, Nuruddin.
Hello, Kamini.
Tell us what's been the reaction to the president's visit to the area.
Well, party supporters are very happy that the president will be coming to the region, and as I'm speaking now, most of them are preparing to meet him at the airport. We are told he will be at the airport latest by 4 p.m. today, and according to the party activists, they have made available some cars at the party headquarters to convey the supporters to the airport. And the information I have as of now is that the president will inspect runway project at the airport, and afterwards he would go to the RTP. We earlier had an information that he would be going to Prudential Palace, but later I'm told you'll be going to do the inspection only the different the runway project at the airport, and then go to RTP. I'm also told that tomorrow they will be going to the Commanding factory and then to Mamton to inspect some water projects.
Right, and so people are expectant of the president's arrival in the Ashanti region. Hello, Nuruddin.
Yes.
The Ashanti region is expectant of the president.
Yeah, they are expecting the president to come today, and like I said earlier, especially the party supporters are already
All right.
to meet him at the airport.
Right, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much. Nuruddin Mohammed joined us from the Ashanti region. Now, President John Dramani Mahama has reconstituted the board of the heavily criticized Savannah Accelerated Development Authority. SADA will now be headed by corporate lawyer and former deputy chairperson of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Angelina Mona Damachare. An anti-corruption campaigner has advised a new board for the Savannah Accelerated Authority to implement the findings and recommendations of a damning audit report. I'm joined over the telephone by Vitus Azim, Executive Director for the Ghana Integrity Initiative. Hello, Vitus. Hello, Vitus. Well, I do not have him. We'll move on. TB cases recorded in the Dade Kotopon municipality dropped from 157 in 2012 to 142 in 2013, a situation health authorities are not too happy about. So the District Health Directorate expects to record and manage more cases this year in order to reduce TB infections in the communities. The TB focal person for the district, Emilia Delakpodo, revealed this at a special training for TB community outreach volunteers organized by Concern Health Education. I'll bring you that video later. Let's go back to our earlier story where the president has reconstituted a SADA board to be headed by Angelina Mona, a corporate lawyer. And I'm joined over the telephone by Vitus Azim. Thank you very much, Vitus, for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Is this redemption for SADA?
Yes, it's a good step for SADA. It is a step in the right direction. But for me, it's just the first step.
What will be the next necessary steps you'd expect this board to take?
Well, the board does not run the day-to-day affairs of any organization. It is the management. And so the next step, we'll look at the management, review them and see whether there are appropriate people that should be there, whether there are any cases, especially what was reviewed in the audit report, whether there were any issues mentioned against any of them. But of course, the most important is the appointment of a new CEO. The CEO must be somebody not just with academic qualifications, but with knowledge and experience in managing a project like SADA, with the commitment to actually working to achieve the desired goals, and a person of integrity. This is something that the board should be given a free hand to advertise and recruit in a transparent way a CEO for SADA if we hope to see a real change in the fortunes of SADA.
Tell us how critical it is for this board to implement those recommendations in the audit report.
It is very critical and it's very necessary because SADA needs money to actually implement the programs that it has been set up to implement. Some of these monies have been wrongly paid or paid for work undone. That is, some of the projects that were supposed to have been carried out have not been carried out, and yet the people that were supposed to pay to carry out these projects have already been paid. So it is very important that SADA takes steps with the support of government to recover these money that have been wrongly paid so as to be able to go ahead and implement the programs that it has set for itself.
And then beyond that, we would hope that it won't happen again. How do we ensure that?
Well, there's a need for a continuous oversight by the board and by state agencies like the Ghana Audit Service and by Parliament. Some of these things happen because maybe the oversight is not close enough, the supervision is not close enough. For example, if you have a board that is very busy, people sitting on 2, 3, 4, 5 boards, staying in Accra with SADA being in the north, you're not likely to be able to seriously supervise whatever is happening. The board should have subcommittees that will manage various aspects. People that will be looking at the finance side, people that will be looking at the operations and all that, so that maybe they need to be constantly overseeing what is happening.
On the back of that, are you impressed with the constitution of this new board?
Well, I don't want to get involved in assessing the individuals that have been appointed, but they need to have the commitment. They need to be people of integrity, and they need to be people that have time to actually do the work that they have been appointed to do.
Thank you very much, Vitus. Vitus Azim is Executive Director for the Ghana Integrity Initiative. According to a survey conducted by the Ministry of Health and its stakeholders, 4,000 tuberculosis cases were undetected in 2013 alone. The situation has been attributed to failure by patients to seek early and appropriate health care as a result of the misconceptions, myths and stigmatization associated with the ailment. Most of the patients of these undetected cases are said to seek help from spiritual institutions such as churches and spiritualists. Isaac Ampoma is president of the Concerned Health Education team, and he's joined me here in the studio for a quick chat. Thanks for joining us here.
Thank you very much.
Let's start off with the cases in La Dadekotopong. What did we identify as the cause for the seeming outbreak in La?
Well, TB, of course, is an airborne disease, and for that matter, majority of the community members are unaware, and the lack of information is as a result creating that sort of a delay in bringing the cases to the hospitals. So most often the various households are not well ventilated, and for that matter, a disease that is being spread through coughing can easily spread, and for that matter, everybody living in the community becomes potential TB suspects. For that matter, most often the understaffing of the health system also create a problem to go into the community to sort of encourage them to come and pick their treatment. For this reason, the civil society organization within the coalition of NGOs in health, and for that matter, the Stop TB Partnership, is being encouraged through the Global Fund funding package to go into the community and help bring this treatment closer to the health centers.
And of course, that's why you've trained your people.
And it's in this reason that Concerned Health has decided to be part of this movement.
I'm worried about the fact that in 2013 alone, several thousands of cases were undetected. It means that we don't really know the signs of TB, do we?
Not so much to say, but I think it is now time as a country for us to also look at the potential and the benefit of community volunteering. You know, most often we want to rely on expertise, but not all the time. I mean, health system and healthcare is a collaboration of all. Optimal health is a collaboration of all. So when we realize the need a community volunteer can do to the health system, then of course we can begin to train more volunteers to give them basics, techniques to go into the community to bring the cases for us.
But naturally, if you know the symptoms of TB and you felt that you were having more than 90% of that symptom, you'd go to the hospital. However, on the other hand, if you don't know it, you sit at home and perhaps you'd keep medicating, spreading it, and going to the wrong places to seek help. How would we identify if you could be a potential TB carrier?
Yeah, there are various myths surrounding the disease. In the local dialect, some call it in Samanwa, what have you, and whatnot. In the early days, thank God, with the proliferation of NGOs working, this myth has been reduced. And I believe it is time for us to encourage people not to stigmatize, because TB treatment is free, and therefore going to the health facilities, you don't pay anything. It has been subsidized by the Global Fund. These are some of the information we need to tell them. And volunteers has been trained nationwide.
So before your volunteer gets to a particular community, I know now they are very stationed in La Dadekotopong.
Exactly.
Right. So for instance, you're outside La Dadekotopong and you're coughing. Is that a sign of worry to go to the hospital immediately?
No.
I mean, 4,000 cases undetected, that's huge.
Indeed, it is alarming. But like I said, most often we rely on the expertise of health practitioners. I think it is time for us to begin recruiting community volunteers. You know, volunteers work with passion, and when you have them, it helps to increase case detection. And
Very well. Well, thank you very much, Isaac. Isaac Ampoma is with the Concerned Health Education Project team. Now, here's a gentleman with a very interesting story. Francis Lajagala is a pupil teacher in the Volta region, and he is on a crusade to seek justice. He says that he's suffering from both psychological and emotional discomfort after he was caned, operational word, after he was caned by an old woman who had asked him to cane her granddaughter. He says efforts to get the Ghana Education and even the police to take action has proven futile. Francis has been sharing his very sad and touching story to Joy News.
A woman asked me to lodge a younger girl who also comes from her house. That's her own granddaughter. And I said I would lodge her in the classroom. But she said if I didn't lash her right in front of her, she would lash me myself. And she was threatening, angry that I should lash the granddaughter right there in front of her. I wonder why the one she had come for, she wouldn't have asked me that I should to lash that one instead, but rather I should lash a different one. So I refused, and then, but not flatly in her presence. I said I will lash her in the classroom. As I was going away with the child, she gave me a painful lash on my left buttock, right in front of all the peoples. It pained me, and I was embarrassed too. But just to hide it, I didn't want to be rubbing that part of my body to cool the pain. Then the pain lingered for more than necessary, and then the pain changed its form to something like a biting kind of pain, moving the left side of my body, the entire left side of my body. Even as I'm talking to you right now, the entire left side of my body is going through heat sensation and pain, and the thing went into my manhood and strengthening my sexual potency. Seriously, I'm not making up this, and those who know me very know that I'm telling the truth just as it is. And the case has been sent to the PTA, sat on it, and the SMC, they sat on it. The GES office at Mefe, they sat on the case, but realizing the dimension of the spiritual matter attached, they decided to leave it somehow in the air.
I really don't know what to make of this. Dennis Ama is a human rights activist. He's joined me over the telephone. Hello, Dennis. Hello, Dennis.
Yes, hello.
Totally unacceptable, you'd say?
Pardon me, please.
I'm asking, this happening is totally unacceptable, would you say?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And you would expect that the educational authorities and indeed the local government authorities would take up this matter and settle it amicably or through the law court, if possible. But the only thing is that even in the absence of the government taking, because I presume he was teaching in a government school, in the absence of the government taking up his matter, he can himself take up the matter against the perpetrator of this abuse. The only thing is that you'd also have to consider some counseling in a situation like this, because it's a very unusual situation, and when such unusual things happen to people, the psychological impact can be quite huge. And so, aside legal or administrative solutions to this problem, you would expect that there should be some counseling available. And that also brings to mind the degree of care that is afforded to teachers in the educational system, especially for people teachers. often we are more concerned about teachers abusing the rights of students or abusing their power. But such situations also draws attention to how vulnerable teachers can be in the kind of work they do. But like I said, it's a very unusual.
Absolutely.
Yes, a very unusual development. So you would expect that a person in such a position would consider a number of solutions, possible solutions to this problem.
Right. Thank you very much, Dennis. Dennis Amai is a human rights activist. He joined us over the telephone. Now let's go back to how some workers within the Ashoman area of the Dome Kwabenya constituency decided to observe the Labor Day, and they seized the occasion to come together as a group and honor the first black plastic surgeon in Ghana, Dr. Anthony Leng, who turned 74 years on May Day. Pretty good.
As part of the May Day celebrations, the Table of Ashoman, a residents club, threw a birthday surprise for Dr. Anthony Lane on his 74th birthday, which falls on May Day. Chairman of the Table of Ashoman, Joe Mensah, explains why the group chose to observe the day in this manner.
It is now that we can see this club is on its feet, vibrant, and is working well to actually celebrate the May Day with our senior colleague, Dr. Tony George Lane.
Dr. Lane, the first black plastic surgeon in Ghana, who was overwhelmed by the gesture, gave some encouraging words to his fellow health practitioners in Ghana on Workers' Day.
I wouldn't say I'm very happy. We've come a long way, yes, but there's certainly room for improvement. Let's take the National Health Insurance, for instance. It doesn't cater for all diseases, all common diseases, at least those diseases or conditions that I deal with. There are people coming to plastic surgery who have been burnt, and some stay for very long periods, particularly the serious ones. And when they are leaving, if they recover, they are not capable of paying their bills. And there are so many similar situations, not only in my field. And I think we can improve the access of medicine to all and sundry, whether poor or rich.
The Dean of Students, Central University College, Professor Ken Atefa, was also part of those who pulled up the surprise for Dr. Lane. He also seized the moment to encourage Ghanaian workers, especially legal practitioners.
I congratulate all lawyers, including judges, and I congratulate most especially the judicial service staff, whose work supports the good work that we do, and without whom the work of judges in particular would not be accomplished. It is my prayer that government will uplift the remuneration packages of judicial service staff, and that, including judges, and that the profession will be better insulated from the pressures, the pulls and pushes that occasionally get some judicial service staff into a life less deserving of the nobility that the profession is known for.
According to Table of Ashoman, they will facilitate development in the area through unity. And to all workers, they say Happy May Day.
Definitely time well spent, and happy belated 74th birthday to Dr. Anthony Leng. I'll be right back with some business. On to the local bourse and check out this week's trading. Sadly, David Dankwa is unable to join us, and it's even more difficult to add. The researcher from the Gold Coast Fund Management died Monday, 30th April. We'd want to remember him for the time he spent with us. And David Dankwa, who is researcher at the Gold Coast Fund Management Limited, is here with us. We'll try and understand what all of these mean. In fact, we want to know how 2013 fared as far as the GSE is concerned. Thank you very much, David. Happy New Year.
Yeah, many returns.
It's good to see you again.
It's my pleasure being here.
Let's talk stocks. and 2013. Overview.
The stock market in 2013, I believe, was good, especially when you are doing a year-on-year analysis that is comparing the year to other years. I mean, if you compare 2013 to the other years, 2010, 2011, 2012, up to 2009, you can see it's one of the most yielding how do we put it? One of the most yielding years for the stock market. So,
thanks for staying on Joy News. You're watching News Today. Now, Joy News has officially launched its sanitation-based project, Clean Communities. The year-long program, partnered by Star Ghana, involves 5 communities from 5 regions across the country. The program aims at empowering citizens to demand transparency and accountability from their leaders to ensure their communities are clean. Speaking at the launch of the project at La Kaklamadu in Accra earlier this morning, the Chief Operating Officer of Multi-TV, Klaus von Backenstein, expressed the hope that the project will help fishermen at La catch fish and not plastic waste.
With Clean Communities, the Multimedia Group Limited, with support from Star Ghana, puts the spotlight on 5 communities. We have trained citizen journalists who will give weekly reports on the situation as we engage government and stakeholders to bring real change into these communities, in line with Multimedia's core values of leadership, integrity, and community. Kaklamadu in Accra, Kojokrom in Western Region, Bidiemu in Ashanti Region, Adina in the Volta Region, and Gumeni in the Northern Region will hopefully serve as examples to the rest of the country about how to become and remain a clean community. As we embark on this year-long journey, we ask for your support.
CE for La Dade Kotopong Municipal Assembly, Rita Odole Soa, pledged her support for the project.
And I want us to be each other's keeper. That is within our communities like Akramadu, as the program is being launched. We should ensure that when we see people trying to drop litter around, we need to stop them. We need to them that it is not good to litter the community. As we always say, cleanliness is next to godliness, and so we need to, as believers and as people with one vision, we need to ensure that our communities are clean. When we talk about toilet facilities, the assembly.
Well, sponsor for the program, Star Ghana, was represented by the Deputy Programs Manager, Mary Tobin Osei.
We are partnering with media organizations like Multimedia Group because we are very much aware that the media fraternity have a mandate, according to the law of our land, to ensure that citizens, government accounts to citizens, and to also ensure that citizens are informed and to ensure transparency in our land. So for us in Star Ghana,